Secretary, welcome to Meet the Press.
Good morning.
Let me start with just a simple question. Were you fired or resigned? Because the White House now claims you resigned.
Well, you know, I came to the VA because our men and women in the country fight for us and don't give up. And I came to fight for our veterans, and I had no intention of giving up. There would be no reason for me to resign. I made a commitment, I took an oath, and I was here to fight for our veterans.
So why would the White House say technically you resigned? Did you submit a letter of resignation?
No, I did not.
Were you asked to submit a letter of resignation?
No, I was not.
So you were just terminated?
I received the information the way that you talked about it, and General Kelly gave me a call very shortly before the tweet came out.
Now, you said you had a call with the president a week before, after, I guess, did you brief him on the context of the Inspector General's report?
No, we actually spoke the day that he sent the tweet out, just a few hours before. And we talked a lot about issues at VA that were important and how we could continue to make progress and policy issues.
Now, did you know after the conversation you were going to be fired, or you expected it, or did you still think you had a shot at keeping your job?
No, I did not. In fact, we had set up a meeting for the very next day where I was going to meet with him at 11 o'clock in the morning.
So you had a meeting on the calendar Thursday morning, and you're fired by tweet on Wednesday?
Yes.
You said you were given a call that a tweet was coming by the Chief of Staff, John Kelly.
Yes.
What was the reason he said you were going to be fired?
He just simply said that the president had decided that he needed to make a change.
Now, the president at a rally on Thursday night said that he made some changes because he wasn't happy with the speed with which our veterans were taken care of. He wasn't happy with it. So that's an indication it's a policy disagreement.
Well, you know, the president indicated that he needed to make a change and that he wanted to see greater change happen faster. I think he was pretty clear in his statement.
Here's what he said about you for the first 8 months of your tenure at the VA. Let me play a sampling.
And I want to thank David, your secretary, your new secretary, who's going to be so outstanding. I think he actually passed 100 to nothing.
Stand up, Secretary. Where's Secretary Shulkin? What a great job. Thank you. I'm so proud of David Shulkin and the job you've done. What you've done in such a short period of time, I think you folks would attest to it. If anybody disagrees, you can leave the room right now.
What happened?
Well, there's no doubt we were making terrific progress. This is an issue that's very important to the president, very important to me. We got 11 bills through Congress and that the president signed last year in a bipartisan way. We were making great progress, and you know, the president has the right and ability to change his mind, and he needs to have people around him that he's comfortable with, and he made a decision to make a change.
What do you think changed in your relationship with him?
Well, I've always had a very good relationship. Our discussions have been very focused on how we can do better, how we can do things in a better way to serve our veterans. So this was somewhat of a surprise.
You keep saying, though, that you were the one standing between privatization of the VA and the White House a little bit there. Except during your confirmation hearing, you knew that you had a different philosophy about the future of the VA than the president had campaigned on when it came to the issue of privatization. Are you shocked that there's policy disagreements between you and the White House?
Well, the president and I agreed very strongly that we needed to do better for our veterans. That's the only reason why I took the job. Right. And he campaigned strongly on that issue. But I had been at the VA under the Obama administration, and I knew ways that we needed to be able to move forward and transform the VA. And it wasn't to simply privatize. It was to begin to start modernizing the VA, give veterans greater choice, which we've done. Right. And this was a path forward that I thought and I believe that we were making great success in.
But how did we get to a point where you say, where basically you stopped speaking with some political appointees at the VA, that there was a report you had an armed guard outside of your office? How did you get to that point inside this agency?
Well, first of all, simply not true.
You never had an armed guard outside the White House? Outside of your office?
Every cabinet secretary has security detail that are armed. We're in presidential succession. There was never any change to my security detail. It's been that way for years.
Did you have somebody standing outside your office preventing certain political aides from having access to you?
I always have my security detail on my floor outside my office. There was no change in protocol there.
But was there a change in who was allowed in to see you?
Well, when the political appointees decided that they were no longer going to participate as an effective member of my team when they had memos showing that they wanted to have me removed, my deputy secretary removed, my chief of staff removed. Of course I limited access to those people. They no longer were willing to be working effectively with us in a way to improve care for veterans.
Did you ever go to the chief of staff about these issues?
Absolutely.
And what did John Kelly say to you about this?
Well, he said, look, he understands that, he's been in the military and you can't have people on your team that are going in a different direction, and everyone needs to get back on track. And we talked about the ways to get us back on track. Who was going in the wrong direction? Your staff from you or you from the president? Oh, I think it was my staff from where I was leading this agency
But you believe you had the president's confidence?
Yes, absolutely.
But those appointees thought they had the president's confidence.
I suspect you're right.
So who's off this is where I'm confused. Who's off message here, both of you?
Well, look, I think, ultimately it's up to the president to decide. The president probably had different points of view, and the president made a decision last Wednesday. But look, every day that I came to work, I was focused on making this system work better for veterans, and we were making good progress.
One of the surprising things is the fact that you were an Obama political appointee and you held over. In your meeting in your job interview, did the president-elect ask you who you voted for?
No, he did not.
That didn't matter to him?
He didn't ask me that.
Would you have told him?
No, I wouldn't have. Listen, I didn't come to Washington for political reasons. As you know, I'm a doctor.
Right.
I came because I felt that there was a public duty, that I had a responsibility to help contribute to fix this system for veterans. And I would not put politics into this. I think it's a mistake to politicize VA. And I don't participate in partisan politics.
Your misuse of taxpayer funds, you are claiming that some of these charges are trumped up. This was an Obama-appointed inspector general. Do you really think there's some sort of conspiracy here to tarnish your reputation in order to make it easier to fire you?
I don't think that there's a conspiracy going on, but I will tell you, I do not believe that there was any misuse of government funds. And unfortunately, after the Inspector General report came out, I was prohibited from giving my point of view on this. I had prepared a statement. It was removed from the VA website. I was told that I was not allowed to go out and talk to the press about this. Look, I went to a conference in Europe that the U.S. has attended for 43 years, all about veterans issues.
You mix personal and professional, though. Fair?
No.
You took half the time for personal?
No, absolutely not.
So it was a work...
40 hours of meetings and lectures with our allies.
You went to Wimbledon.
100% of the meetings were attended to. I went to Wimbledon on a Saturday. I went to see some sites in the evenings. After, we didn't miss a single minute of conference. Everybody, every American has their weekends.
I understand that.
So there was no misuse. There was no mixing. This was simply that I didn't sit in my hotel room. After hours on my private time, we went out. We walked outside the hotel and saw sites.
Do you believe if you were carrying out the president's agenda fully at the VA, that this would not have been a fireable offense? The president, would he have kept you on? Do you believe you would have survived this Inspector General report had you been on the same page with him on privatization?
I do believe that there were no ethical violations here, that this was being used in a political context to exploit the situation. And I do believe that the issue at hand is the future of VA and whether it's going to be privatized or not.
Any advice for your potential successor, Ronnie Jackson?
Yeah, look, I think Dr. Jackson is a good man, and I think that he should continue to have the veterans' interests at heart. This is a very tough job.
Is he qualified to run the job?
This is a very tough job. I'm not sure that anybody realizes how complex this is. A $200 billion budget, 370,000 people working with Congress and representing veterans. I wish him the best. I will do everything I can to make sure that he's successful.
Doesn't sound like you think he has the skill set.
I think that he is going to need to have a good team around him, like everybody will, to be successful.
Secretary Shulkin, I will leave it there. I appreciate you coming in
Thank you.
On this holiday week.
Thank you.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and then click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.